The leg was on backwards.
What?
Okay, what's your favorite frog, Fern?
My favourite frog is just the regular spring green frog, like the regular sized one.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I saw people the other day questioning why people love the frog so much, and I commented on the post. It was on Reddit. I commented on the post that, the frog design is so simplistic, but in a very cute way.
Yeah.
So I feel like when they do designs that are more complicated, like if they ever did one that's like rainbow polka dots with a rainbow background, like that's too
Yeah,
much.
exactly. Because I feel like the spring green frog being so simple, it gives the buyer a load of freedom for what they want the bear to be. A boy could get it, a girl could get it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be super for a certain audience. It can be for anyone, and they can like dress it how they want, customize it, make it their own little like frog character.
Yeah, and like I've seen so many people, I got Pinterest the other day, and I've seen so many people who dress their frogs like you can see one post and they're dressing their frog in a fairy outfit and it works. Like it works with the vibe.
Yeah.
And then you see another person do like a leather jacket and boots and they're like completely opposite, but the frog still makes it work.
Exactly.
Like it's still seamless. It's perfect.
It does, yeah. Like anything's possible with like the plain frog because it can sort of be its own little guy.
And and I feel like another reason I think the frogs are so unique and why Build-A-Bear's smart for making all these variants of frogs is because the eye shape really, really changes how the frog's personality is, to me at least.
Yeah.
Because like you can see a frog with like the deflated eyes, so there's barely like any difference from their head, and that gives it a very different personality than one where you see like the eye shape is like popping out of the head more so.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like it gives more variety than the basic bears.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, because I remember the other day you sent me that frog that had the sort of eyes that look like they're almost like crossed.
It
like
does.
They're like sort of looking into each other. And like that frog looks so sweet and like a little bit ditzy.
Yeah.
And I think, do you know what? It contributes to the personality of it. So yeah, every bear is sort of unique in that way.
Yeah. If you look at other bears compared to the frogs, you can see that the frogs are so much more unique because my frog, Puddles, looks so much different than your frog, Bogart.
Yeah.
But if you look at them in a technical way, they're the same thing, but their eyes are just slightly different to a point where they have that extra bit of personality to them.
I guess when you're looking through the skins, when you're going to pick one out to be stuffed and that, you can go and find some of the bears, especially the ones with the embroidered eyes. I feel like you can pick one of those and they all look the same.
Yeah, they do.
But the ones with sort of the beaded eyes and the different eye shapes and sort of the heads, sometimes they can be wonky, which I love when one of the frogs is wonky.
I do too. Oh my gosh.
It makes it more lovable.
It does. It does. And like, I have a couple frogs and I love how each one of them there's a difference about them just in their eyes alone. That's not even talking about the smiles. Just in their eyes alone, there's so much variety, and I just adore that about the frogs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you mentioned the smiles. I remember you said something about that.
Yeah, so a while back I saw somebody on Reddit, the Build-A-Bear Reddit. They were upset because they ordered a frog offline and they were saying that the frog was quote unquote not perfect.
Aww.
Because they thought that the smile had like a little wobble in it and the eyes weren't perfectly straight. And everyone, including myself that saw that, looked at it and was like, no, that frog is the most perfect frog ever. Yes, it has a tiny bit of a wobble in the smile, and yeah, maybe one of the eyes is a little off, but that's what the frog's charm is. Like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly. And on the website, obviously when they're taking pictures of the frogs, they're going to be manipulated like through Photoshop, or they're going to be photoshopped to look perfect. So obviously when you get the frog, it's not going to look like the marketing pictures. It's going to be a bit different. If the frog was so perfect, yeah, they would all be the same. It doesn't feel as like personal when you're getting your frog and you think, this is my own unique little guy.
Right. And I don't think they would be as popular as they are if they didn't have such unique features. And speaking of the photos on the website, I legit laughed when I saw the baby pink frog on the website, because let me tell you, that picture looks so ugly.
Does it? Let me have a look. Let me have a look. I haven't seen it.
It looks so ugly. Like, the eyes look like they're kind of like bulging out a little bit. Like, I don't know. The smile's weird. It looks like they tried to get the perfect frog, but they tried too hard. I don't know if they photoshopped it or not.
Oh no.
But it's just not good.
I'm having a look. I actually haven't seen this, so this is gonna feel like genuine.
Yeah, it's not cute. It's not.
Oh, I see it. I mean, he looks like...
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, he looks like... he looks a bit vacant in his face.
He does. He has no thoughts behind those eyes, but not in a good way.
He doesn't even have a single brain cell.
He doesn't. He just doesn't. And, like, because, you know, before that, the baby pink frog was released, you know, there was the leaked photos, and every single leaked photo I saw of the baby pink frog was so much cuter than the stock photo.
Yeah.
Because that one's just ugly.
Yeah, it almost looks like... That's savage. It almost looks like, you know, in person, the small frogs are sort of fluffier. Because they're so small. Yeah. But it's the same, like... It's the same fur length.
It's the same length, yeah.
Yeah, so when it's smaller, it looks fluffier. But on the website, on the stock images, it sort of looks like it's just a regular sized bear shrunk down.
Yeah, it looks weird. But speaking of really cute frogs, my favorite Build-A-Bear frog is the Hoppy Swirls frog.
Yes! Is that the blue and purple one?
Yes. So okay, obviously I love it because I love purple, and I love the purple that they chose, and like the blue color that they chose with it. Really, really cute. The only thing that makes me not want it to be my favorite frog is I've seen some really, really bad ones.
Have you?
Yeah, because, like, you know, there's the pastel purple, there's the pastel blue, and then there's like that pastel minty green color.
Yeah, like the in-betweeny sort of one they use in the pattern.
Yeah, and like, it was an online exclusive, and I hate online exclusive ones, because especially when it's a pattern one, and especially when it's a frog, I hate the online exclusives, because you don't get to choose what it looks like. And, you know, since the Hoppy Swirls frog was online exclusive, it was a gamble. You ordered it and you hoped for the best. And I got really lucky with that. I think my Hoppy Swirls frog, Periwinkle, I think he's really, really cute. His pattern is beautiful. His eyes are perfect. But I've seen some really, really bad ones, like on Instagram, on Macari, on Reddit, where there's so much of that green that it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I hear you, because, like, when I saw it came out, the main appeal to it was that it was this nice lilac and blue colour. So to have sort of the palest of the colours as the main colour on the face, you know, it's split, so that it's sort of it's sort of a double luck if you get the pattern you want. If I got one and it wasn't what the stock pattern was, I'd be a bit like, oh, you know, you'd rather just go into the store and pick out your own one.
Exactly. And so there's been a couple online exclusive frogs, and it upsets me. I love picking out my frogs in the store, you know, stuffing them myself. I love that process. And the fact that my favorite one I wasn't able to pick out, it upsets me.
It is a shame.
It's not cool.
Speaking of, like, the colour placement being off, it reminds me... No. Speaking of the colour placement of that one, it leads me into my least favourite frog, which is the rainbow frog.
Fern.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because... You're lying.
Yeah. No, it is, because... so, like, when you get it... Well, so I don't personally have it, so I guess I can't really speak, you know, from experience having it, but from the ones I've seen on Instagram, like, because of the colour placement, some of them look a bit weird. Like, I've seen some that where the stripes are, it makes it look like it has, like, giant lips, like like a big
Yeah.
lipstick smile, you know?
Yeah, no, so when the rainbow frog came out, I was super excited. I had been predicting a rainbow frog for like 2 months at this point. This was June. And when it came out, I was so unbelievably excited. And then I saw that it was online exclusive. And I was so mad. But I was like, I obviously want a rainbow frog. And it was a pride frog. And I was like, I need a rainbow frog. And luckily, I got two because my mom was really nice and she bought two so then I could pick out a pattern, between the two. And because, my mom, she kept the second one because I picked my favorite and she really liked the second one anyway. So we got lucky, but I've seen ones, like you said, that have like the red where the line is. And because of the pattern, most of the frogs, they have that split down the top half of their face. But with the rainbow frog, they didn't do that because they wanted the rainbow to be straight across. So there's that
Oh,
usual
did
split.
they not do that?
They didn't. It's if you look at the rainbow frogs, it's like the smooth sort of curve across the front of their face and then the curve under their mouth,
Oh.
which if the rainbow is not perfect or it's in a specific pattern, you'll get that lipstick look.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I was wondering how, if the rainbow sort of goes red, orange, yellow, or whatever order it does, then how come there's so many frogs with the same colour on the top and the bottom
Yeah.
of the mouth? But that makes sense. I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah, it was, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that was the first one that they did that had no split down the middle of their face. Because, it makes sense because it needed to be full
Yeah,
striped. If it was one of those things where their face was split into fours and like the rainbow didn't match up, nobody would have wanted that. Nobody.
exactly.
But to your point, I've seen so many cute ones on Instagram. I've seen so many beautiful rainbow frogs. And then I've seen ones that look really bad.
Yeah, some of them look a tiny bit wonky,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if that's just maybe, like you said, it's got a different way it's been sewn, so maybe that's why it looks a little bit off compared to the normal spring green frog. But I've noticed that some of the faces are a bit wonky.
I have definitely seen some really cute frogs that are rainbow. Like our friend Lizzie, her rainbow frog
Mm.
is absolutely stunning.
It is
Beautiful.
so cute. I love them so much. I see pictures and
Oh
I'm
my
just like,
gosh.
oh.
I know when I saw their frog, because I love my rainbow frog Pluto, love him.
Mm.
When I saw their frog, I was like, dang, she got a really lucky pick at a frog.
Some people have all the luck.
But speaking of weird patterns, my least favorite frog of all time
Mm.
is the Jolly Jumps frog. That's the big dark green frog with the little spots over it.
Yeah, I know what one you mean. I hear you, yeah. It's, I mean, I don't mind it that much, to be honest, because I like it when the frogs are dark green. Like, I remember, I've seen some people in the community dye their, dye their frogs so that they make them a dark green. And I remember I saw one that was dark green and it looked so good. So when the Christmas one came out, I thought, oh, good, it's a dark green one. But I have to admit, I feel like they could have just done a dark green one and that would have been good enough for a Christmas frog.
Yeah,
Like the mini one.
like the mini one, yeah. Because when I heard that there was gonna be a Christmas frog, even before that, I was like, they need to make a normal size one of this because all the mini frogs that they have, like they have the mini green one, okay, they have a giant one, like they have the normal size of that. So I was like, they're gonna make a regular size dark green frog. And when I saw the Jolly
Yeah.
Jumps frog, I was just disappointed. It looks, as my mom said, it looks like chicken pox. And
It does. It does look a little bit sick.
yeah, and my mom to this day calls my Jolly Jumps frog chicken pox. Um,
Oh.
it's and I think it's a fine design. I like the one that I have. I think he's really cute, but just the frogs variants, like talking about the variants of the frogs, the ones that I've seen that have a lot of red spots on their face, or if you put that frog in like red clothing, I think it looks so ugly.
Right. I feel that.
I just don't think that that was the best frog they could have done for Christmas.
Yeah. I think they probably could have done. Do you know what they could have done? They could have done like a candy cane type, like a red and white one, or a green and white one, or that sort of pattern. Or even like green and stars.
Ooh, that one would have been really cool.
Yeah, that would have been so cool. And like, I understand they wanted it to be Christmassy, of course, but it sort of limits it to being Christmas specific. And I understand the appeal to that, because obviously you want frogs or bears in general that appeal to a season or a holiday, but I just feel like they could have done it a little bit better.
Yeah, and I think if they just stuck with making the plain dark green as a normal sized frog, I think it would have been better.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree. I think it would have been a lot better, because they could have just dressed it in Christmas clothes instead of having the spots.
Oh yeah, they could have just, like, they had the mistletoe shirt. They could have just done that and like that be their Christmas thing. They didn't have to make a weird spotted frog.
Exactly.
Speaking of possibilities for frogs, what is like your dream frog? What is a frog that you want to be a real thing?
I have a lot of ideas of what my dream frog could be, I guess. I've written down two that I really like, that I've been thinking about, and if it's possible that I could ever make my own Build-A-Bear, this is what it would be. So my first sort of idea I had was that obviously we have the spring green frog, and it's iconic. Total icon. I love it.
Very iconic.
Yeah. So I thought a good pairing to that would be if Build-A-Bear released a toad version. So like brown fur, possibly like shorter legs, maybe stumpier legs, and a chunkier body to sort of replicate how a toad is. And then next to each other, it would be frog and toad,
That would be so cute. I've actually been thinking that they should do a brown one, because brown is such a neutral color that, like, with the spring green frog, you can put any clothes on that. But there are limitations, because you don't want to put like a close similar green on it that's like slightly different. But if there was a brown frog, you could put anything on that and it would look stunning.
It would be so good. And also it would appeal to sort of older audience as well, because I feel like them people that have a beige aesthetic where everything's sort of like a natural color. I feel like if I had that aesthetic and I saw a brown frog and I could dress it in like anything, like have like a beige sweater or like a white little shirt, that would be so cute.
Dude, that would be so adorable. And like you could put like you could put a black shirt on it. You could do like the combat boots. Like you could do everything you can do with the spring green frog, but just more, because it's a neutral color. It looks very nice.
For sure. And also, along with the fur being brown, I figured that the Build-A-Bear that is it has clouds in its fur.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The texture. Yeah, so obviously in real life, frogs and toads are slightly different. They have differences, and toads have sort of like a textured back, so I was thinking the fur on the frog could be almost like, it could almost be a little bit rougher, or it could have spots raised in the fur so that it looks a bit more textured, like a little toad, which could be something they could do, because I feel like they don't do it enough.
Yeah, I personally, I think it would be a really cute idea. I don't really care for like the bumped up fur. I don't think it's like bad, but I have never seen a Build-A-Bear where it has like that kind of fur thing going on. I haven't seen one that's like older. Like what happens when it's more loved?
Yeah, I haven't seen it aged as well, so I mean, I don't know if the patterns would fade, or I'm not too sure.
But I definitely think like they should do a brown frog. Another frog that they need to do, specifically for me, they need to do a purple frog. They just have to. Like a plain purple frog.
They have to, man. It's your character.
It's my character. You have to have a purple frog. You have to. And recently, there have been 2 different leaks of a lavender Build-A-Bear frog.
Mm.
And a lot of people are upset about it because they think that it's too similar to the Hoppy Swirls frog, the purple blue one.
Right.
But I disagree. I need myself a purple frog that's all purple. It needs to happen. Honestly, if the leaks are fake, I'm going to be so upset.
Oh no.
So unbelievably upset.
Yeah, I hope they're real, because I feel like they need to sort of widen the range of frog colours that aren't patterned. I feel like having just the standard colours is just, so nice. But also, when I saw the photos of the leak, I didn't think they were that similar to the Hoppy Swirls one. I thought they were.
They aren't.
It was more of a brighter purple, wasn't it? It was a brighter purple.
Yeah, it's slightly darker, because like the Hoppy Swirls is like a very pastel purple, but this one looks like a more medium toned lavender. But I've seen similar complaints when the tie-dye pink frog came out. People were saying, oh, well, it's so similar to the regular pink frog. And I disagree with that too. I love my tie-dye pink frog because it's like it has the base color of the normal pink, but then it has a darker pink and then a very lighter pink. So I don't think that the lavender frog would be too similar to the Hoppy Swirls frog.
See, I have the pink frog, and I love my pink frog. I love it, but I feel like the pink frog and the tie-dye pink frog, the pinks are more similar compared to the Hoppy Swirls frog and the purple one. So if I could go back and choose, I'd probably pick the pink tie-dye one and just get that one instead of getting just the pink one. But at the same time, I can see that if someone wanted to get all of the different colours of frogs, or if they just wanted a variety, like, I feel like they're different enough to have them as separate things.
Yeah, and like I feel like the Hoppy Swirls frog is a very different vibe than the lavender frog. To me, at least. I feel like the lavender frog, I love the frogs that are the plain, simple color. And, you know, I love the patterned frogs too, but I feel like if you're making a patterned one, like we spoke about earlier, there's more of a gamble. Because if they're in stores, you could go to the store and find a frog with the perfect pattern, but you don't like the eye shape. Or vice versa. You find the perfect eye shape, but you don't like the pattern. And I feel like it's more variety, it's like more options up in the air. Whereas if it's just a plain green frog, a plain pink frog, a plain purple frog, all you have to worry about is the eye shape and the smile.
And I can understand that some people might not be as picky as us, but me personally, I want my frog sort of how I want my frog, even if it's just a slight difference. Like, usually it's the first one I pick up and then I get attached to it and I'm like, I can't put it down. But, you know, if I see one, because you feel bad. You're like, oh, I've picked you now, I have to take you home. But at the same time, if I saw one in person and I was quickly looking through them all and then I saw the one I wanted, I get that I want to buy it straight away. I know that's the one for me, and I feel like it's different for everyone, so I feel like it's important. I know most people probably wouldn't care, but like it matters.
It does matter. And like you said about like you pick one up and you have to buy it. When I got Puddles, which is my green frog, you know, I had seen people with these frogs. Like I just stumbled upon the frog Build-A-Bear community on Instagram, and I immediately was in love. And, you know, it took a few weeks, but I finally went to Build-A-Bear, and it was like super late. They were going to close like within the hour. And I picked up the first one and I looked at him, and my mom looked at me and she was like, are you sure that's the one you want? And I got very anxious because I was like, oh God, what if I picked the wrong one? But I looked at its cute little face and I was like, this is my Puddles, and I got him.
Yes. Yes, you picked him and he picked you.
Yeah. And I mean, he was just on the top. He was ready to have a home, you know?
That is adorable. I'm really lucky because I didn't pick Bogart from the store. I ordered him online, and this was when the frogs first came out, so there wasn't really a lot of, I don't know. I didn't have an idea in my mind what I wanted him to look like, so I just sort of hoped for the best.
Right.
And when I got him, I'm just so happy it was him.
Yeah. speaking of like frogs and how they have, there's like the seasonal ones because there's like the rainbow one, there's the Jolly Jumps frog. The older frogs, like before they came up with this design of how the shaping is, there was an Irish frog, like for St. Patrick's Day. Like they used to do seasonal ones.
Yeah, I love the seasonal ones. One of my dream frogs is having a seasonal frog.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have. Do you remember the old Build-A-Bears where it had sort of like the pumpkin kitty where it had the pumpkins on its fur?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was the summer one where it's a white bear with the rainbows in its fur as well. That sort of coloured, patterned fur. I would love to have a seasonal fur frog, sort of frog that has, little leaves in it, like a little leaf design or a little pumpkin design, or even like little yellow stars, like a night sky frog or something.
That would be so cute.
It would be so cute. They could totally do that.
That would be so cute. Cause I could see them, cause there was a line years ago where it was like the seasonal bears. There was a rainbow one, there was a fall leaf one, they did stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I could see them doing that with Build-A-Bear frogs. The only thing, I feel like Build-A-Bear might be scared to do it, just with all the hate they've gotten for how many frog variants they've been doing. So I'm worried that, like, they won't do a seasonal one,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a risk. I mean, if they did do it, I would be bankrupt because I would get every single bear in the collection. If they did a seasonal line, oh my gosh, I would have to get all of them. But also I'm not sure about the budget on if it must be more expensive to print the colours into the fur like that. I mean, they did it with the rainbow frog and stuff like that, but I'm wondering if it's more difficult to do with complicated designs in the fur.
I would assume so, specifically because of the prices.
Yeah.
Because if you look, usually the pattern ones, like the tie-dye pink frog, the hoppy swirls, the rainbow, they've all been at least $2 to $4 more expensive than the plain green.
Have they? I wasn't aware of that. I haven't been keeping track of the prices lately, but I've noticed that some of them do vary, but I didn't know they were necessarily more.
Yeah, because I remember, I don't remember the exact price of like the Hoppy Swirl Frog was, but it has definitely gone up. Like the Hoppy Swirl's price compared to the tie-dye pink frog, which is a year difference, it's increased. I do assume that, like, you're right, like it's because the pattern is more expensive to make.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I feel like the frogs, even the spring green one, have gone up a lot in price. I mean, not a lot, but it's like sort of steadily going up.
Yeah, because I remember back when I got Puddles, my green frog, I think the price was like around $18 or $20 back then.
Yeah, it was £18 for me.
Yeah, so that was February 2022, and now, as of January 2023, the green frog is $24.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
ridiculous.
That's more than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it would be $22 because I think on the UK site it's £22. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's £22. So wait, let me check. Let me fact check this because otherwise, fact check. I was wrong. It's £20. It's £20. So not as bad. I don't know why I thought it was 22, but yeah, it's gone up a lot in the US.
It has, and I know it's inflation, and I'm not gonna get into all that, but it's still crazy.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like it's insane, and it's not even just like the frogs. Like all their prices have gone up. It's just crazy, and like people selling like secondhand frogs on Macari, they can obviously charge more now, even though like when they got it was $18, but now Build-A-Bear's selling it for $24, so they can sell it for like $23 and somebody's gonna buy it, or they can sell it for $50. There's crazy people out there.
Yeah, when I go on eBay and I look at sort of older bears and then I come across the spring frogs and things like that, I can see some people are really taking the liberty of boosting their prices and trying to get a profit. It's pretty bad how much I mean, I've seen some for £90, £100, 120 even. And this was when the spring frog was out of stock. So I can understand, I know what they're trying to do, because they can say, oh, it's dead stock. Like, you know, buy it for this price. But, I mean, come on, man. You're going to make someone pay that much?
And you know, the baby spring pink frog just came out, and I kid you not, it hadn't even been out for 2 weeks. And I saw somebody on Mercari selling 4 of them for $200, $250.
I think I saw that as well. I don't know if you sent it to me or if they relisted it on eBay, but I'm sure I saw that as well.
And like that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Like there's no reason for that.
No, it's too
much.
There's
absolutely no reason.
No, exactly.
It
just feels mean.
Yeah, and like speaking of prices, I also feel like there's a quality issue. Not with every single one, but I remember I had puddles for like a few weeks, and I went on a trip, and we went to this random builder that was like hours away from us. And one of the workers there, you know, the Hobby Swirls frog had just come out, and she had one of the Hobby Swirls frogs unstuffed. And I was like, oh my gosh, can I see it? Because, you know, I just ordered it and I want to see what it looks like in person. She was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, you know that it has a backwards leg, right? The leg was on backwards.
What?
Like, you know, the legs, how they kind of like are tilted forward, and then like the foot is obviously there.
Yeah.
One of its legs was tilted towards its backside and the foot was in the back.
Oh my god. That's honestly kind of iconic. I mean,
it's
like
iconic, but like
yeah, it's iconic, but maybe not good for quality control.
Yeah, and then the worker, she started stuffing it as we were leaving, and she was like so happy that it had a backwards leg. And my mom, as we're walking to the car, she was like, you know, if I had a frog that I ordered online and its leg was backwards, I'd be sending that back, because that is messed up. Because it's a quality issue. That's awful.
It is. No, I hear what you're saying. It is a quality issue. And to be honest, the right thing would probably be to send it back. I'm a little weird. I feel like if I got a frog with a leg on backwards, I don't know, man. I feel like I'd have to keep it. I feel like that's really unique. But I get it as well. It is a quality issue. You can't be having frogs with backward legs. That's insane. I wonder how that even happened.
I don't know. And I mean, I guess it's because, like, you know, it was unstuffed. So whoever was probably sewing the legs together, you know, I don't know how they make them, but if they were sewing it and they didn't pay attention, and then they just saw that the foot was on backwards, and they're like, nah, it's fine. Just give it anyway.
Yeah. They can live with it.
Oh, I don't get it. So I've seen a lot of people complain about this. Do you have any issues with the fur of the frogs over time? Like, have you noticed anything?
Yeah, I've noticed when you buy them, they're so soft. They're really, really nice. And when I got Bogart, his fur was really soft. But with time, obviously, I understand it all flattened down a bit. But I've noticed a difference between my early release spring green frog and my pink frog, as well as the smaller ones as well. I've noticed sort of a different quality of the fur. I don't know if they changed it, but Bogart feels more natural. The fur feels more natural, whereas my pink frog, the smaller the buddies, they feel a little bit more synthetic. Like, and obviously I know it's synthetic fur, so it's gonna feel like it to some extent, but at the same time, yeah, like, I know they haven't like actually used animal fur on it. That would be really concerning. But you know,
oh, that would be so creepy.
That would be so cursed, man. Can you imagine? I would hate that. But yeah, so I expect like a certain level of synthetic texture, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's just all in my head. I'm probably just making it up, but I feel like there must have been a slight change in the quality of fur.
Well, the thing with me that I've seen, there's a really popular Instagram account, and they have a frog that they've had, I think, since 2020. I don't remember, but the fur is like matted, and I get that it's and like I get that it's over time. You know, you keep. You know, you're touching it, you're cuddling with it. I get it. It gets to that point.
Yeah.
And there's obviously ways to like stop that, because if you get like the Build-A-Bear brush, or you get like a little pet brush, you can brush the fur out and,
Yeah.
make it better. But I've noticed that like I've been getting really sad about my frog Puddles, because, he's almost a year old, and I feel like his fur has changed so much, and I'm so worried that now he's going to have like this matted fur, and what I'm going to do about it, because I don't really like how the matted fur looks on them. It kind of takes away from their charm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get that. Happy birthday, Puddles, by the way.
Thank
Woo!
you.
Happy birthday!
He's gonna be one.
He's gonna be one. That is crazy. Yeah, I get a lot of people on my Instagram messaging me about how I keep my frog's fur so fluffy, and it's because I use a pet brush. I use a metal wired pet brush, so like,
Oh.
the ones that they use on huskies sometimes, like thick furred dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got one of those, and I use it on the frog, on the frog fur, and it really gets it fluffy. I mean, with matted fur, it's hard, because when it's matted to a certain depth, you have to really be careful with it when you're brushing it, because otherwise, the fur can come out, or it won't go deep enough, and if you don't go deep enough, it won't look fully fluffy again. So you got to sort of do it with care, but it's a good tip. I'd recommend it, using a metal wire pet brush.
I'm definitely gonna have to find one now, because Puddles isn't at the point where he's matted. He's at the point where like the fluff isn't really sticking together. He's fine. I'm being dramatic, but
Poor baby.
Poor
Puddles.
Poor Puddles. But I'm worried that he's, out of all my frogs, he's the one that's like most loved, if you say like that way.
Yeah.
All my other frogs, like my pink frog, I have kept pristine. Same with my rainbow frog. I have kept them perfect. But I'm definitely going to look at the pet brush and see if like I can get one, and if it'll help his fur out a little bit.
Yeah, I'd recommend it, especially before it gets too matted. If you give it a try, it might work.
Yeah. I'll definitely do that. So, speaking about just frogs in general, we talked about the patterns earlier. What frogs do you think will be coming? Like, not like what you want to happen, but like what do you think will for real become a thing?
I suppose the tie-dye ones are really popular, and I feel like they'll probably do a summer tie-dye bear, maybe a rainbow tie-dye bear, or sorry, a rainbow tie-dye frog.
Ooh.
So they might do that. I can see them doing that. Honestly, I hope that they do more solid coloured ones, because I feel like they're obviously the best, like we talked about. They're pretty good for dressing up, and I feel like they sell well. But yeah, I think probably looking at the trend of how they do, rainbow bears for Pride, and around summer they'll do rainbow or tie-dye or pastel colours. Probably something to do with that. Maybe for spring.
Because when the rainbow frog came out, I remember before it, and like, me, you, a lot of our friends, family, we were talking about like what kind of rainbow we wanted it to be. And a lot of people I talked to were like, I hope it's a tie-dye rainbow.
Yeah.
So if they didn't do a tie-dye rainbow, it's almost like they're wasting. Come on now. You need to do it.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I feel like a tie-dye one, to be honest, it would have been better than the striped rainbow one.
That's fair.
If they wanted to do the thing I have with the rainbow bears, especially when it's for Pride, I feel like if a bear's going to be rainbow for Pride, I'd like it to be the Pride flag, like the rainbow, the proper colours and everything.
Yes.
And I remember we talked once about one of the bears for Pride, where it was like, was that one for Pride? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, that was, I don't think it was for Pride, but that was the 25th anniversary Peace Bear.
Okay. But yeah, so like I like it to look like the Pride flag, because I feel like if you're gonna do it for Pride, make it Pride. Like, go crazy,
go all out.
Exactly. And I know we saw with the Peace Bear, the 25th anniversary one, we were talking about it, how the rainbow doesn't really look like a traditional rainbow. It's got sort of these colours that are a bit too similar next to each other, and a bit too bright or a bit too dull. I do feel like if you're gonna do one, either do it the proper colours, or do a rainbow tie-dye. You know, if you're gonna go crazy, go crazy. Don't just sort of go in the middle.
Yeah, and like talking about rainbow frogs. Now, you're not gonna like this, but I think for sure that this year for Pride they're gonna do a mini rainbow frog. 100%.
I know I gave rainbow frogs a bad rep, but I think the smaller one would be cuter. I feel like the smaller one might work better if they don't have the mouth issue.
Well, yeah, and what's interesting, recently, along with the lavender frog leak, there was also a Hoppy Swirls baby frog leak, which is interesting to me because they haven't done a patterned baby frog yet, like at all.
No, they haven't.
So I think if they're taking the step to do a Hoppy Swirls baby frog, I guarantee that there's going to be a mini rainbow frog, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, because they've done mini versions of the regular frogs, big versions of the regular frogs. I feel like it's sort of got to be at this point. They're going to do something like that.
Yeah. And I saw somebody else as well on Reddit. They were talking about, they think at this point, Build-A-Bear's going to do a giant rainbow frog.
Oh my gosh. That would be adorable. I mean, I personally won't get it. I'm picturing that
at this point, this Pride month, they're going to have a giant rainbow frog and a mini rainbow frog, and that'll be the Pride thing.
Yeah. It's a shame because I do wish that they'd make new patterns, but I can see the small rainbow frog being cute.
Speaking of the mini frogs, I've had some interesting luck with what mine looked like, because the pink one was the only one I was able to pick out in stores. But you, Fern, you have undoubtedly the cutest baby frogs. Like, just...
Thank you.
Like, for sure, you have the cutest ones.
Oh my gosh. Beryl and Booger are blushing. That's so nice of you to say.
Everyone I've talked to about it, they agree, because yours look like you took the regular frog and just shrunk them down. Like, their eyes are perfect. They look beautiful. Gorgeous.
Yeah, I have to admit, Beryl, my spring green mini frog, they look pretty much, like just a totally shrunk down regular sized one. I don't know why their proportions are so good, but I was lucky with that.
Yeah.
And also Booger, my small Christmas green frog, his proportions turned out good
eyes?
too. Yeah, like his eyes turned out good. His proportions, they seem good too. So yeah, it's really hit or miss, to be honest.
It is, and like when I got so I got Puddles, my green frog, and then the Hoppy Swirls frog came out, and then the baby green frog, came out like around the same time. Again, you know, because it was already out before. So I got the Hoppy Swirls frog and the mini spring green frog same day, online of course. And I make fun of my baby green frog Bug because she's adorable, but you can't see her eyes.
Yeah,
you just can't.
I remember you showed me. It's so cute. It's so cute, man.
It's adorable. I love her for it, and I pretend that like even glasses won't help her see because her eyes are covered.
Yeah.
I've done all of the tricks. I've done like pushing the fur out of the way. You know, I've done everything. It just there's no helping her.
Yeah.
She's just precious.
I remember, didn't you say that you got a stick and you tried to reposition it so that she looked right, or was that a different frog?
Oh, that was my pink baby one. One of her eyes, how the bead was positioned, it has like the little stick part that's inside, and it was positioned so her eye was legit facing up instead of out. Right. So there's like the seam down the middle of the back of their head, and I got like a little pair of pliers, and I just kind of went into one of the little seam entrances, and I just kind of pushed it around. So then instead of the eye facing up, it was facing out. Fixed it. She's gorgeous. I don't know if the same can happen to Bug.
Perfect.
Though.
Just a casual lobotomy. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I just messed with her brains a little bit. It's fine. You know.
How do you want to go about the next steps?
I was figuring, because like I looked through my checklist, we did everything. I figured we'd just talk about like that was kind of anxiety inducing, but we did good. You know.
Yeah.
We did
good.
I feel. Now I'm excited to do more episodes because I feel like we can do it. This proved we could do it.
Yeah, we can definitely do it.
I think we did really good, though. I'm really proud.
Nice one, man. We did it.
We did it. Yay! Okay. Are we going to stop?
Yeah.
Are we going to stop?
3, 2, 1.